Mike Enzi has been engaged in this effort for how long, Mike? 11 years? 12 years. And we finally have our chance. And I want to thank my colleague, Lamar Alexander, who took a good bill that was way too long and brought it down to 11 pages of very specific, understandable language in terms of what we're trying to achieve. And our new senator here from the state of North Dakota, who brings a perspective, Senator Heidi Heitkamp, which I didn't realize until she arrived. She was one of the original parties to the Quill Supreme Court decision. Her experience as tax commissioner, North Dakota, and as attorney general, her experience in the Supreme Court have given us a perspective on this that is going to be very valuable as we explain this on the floor of the Senate to our colleagues for the amendment process and the final vote. But the real experts are behind us. These are the small business people from across the United States who will tell the story about why this is needed. Senator Enzi, whose background was in retail before coming to the Senate, understands it personally. These witnesses will tell you what it means to accept the responsibility of doing business in your state, to accept the responsibility of charging and collecting sales tax and paying it to the state as required by law, and then to be up against competition which ignores that responsibility. So we want to change that, level the playing field. I can't tell you how many speeches have been given on the floor of the United States Senate about the value of small business. I think I've given a few. And it's all about the creation of jobs, and we know it. The overwhelming majority of new jobs come through small business. Not hundreds at a time, but maybe a few and maybe a dozen. But it makes a difference cumulatively. We want to give these small businesses across America a fighting chance. And we want to say to those businesses, if you're on a level playing field, we know you'll do well. I listened to Senator Heitkamp's speech on the floor this morning, and she talked about the point Senator Enzi made. These are not just business people. These are neighbors and friends and proud residents of communities who participate and give back. And we want to make sure they have a fighting chance when it comes to competition. Now let me tell you a few things this bill is not. First, this bill has nothing to do with federal taxes. Nothing. Secondly, this bill does not impose any new taxes whatsoever. None. Third, this bill has an exemption of those businesses which last year had $1 million or less in revenue. What does that mean when it comes to internet sellers? Well, we can tell you this number. If we'd used 150,000 instead of 1 million, we would have excluded 99% of all internet retailers. So we are dealing with, we think, fewer than 1,000 internet retailers who will be affected by this. So to argue that this is a disadvantage to small business internet retailers is just not true. It doesn't bear up when you look at the statistics. And let me say a word about eBay. They are sending out emails opposing our position on this bill. I haven't worked on eBay, some have, but I have a neighbor, Colleen, been our neighbor for 35 years, and she sits up in the second floor bedroom with boxes full of little figurines, and she sells them on eBay. Well, that was my impression of eBay. And then we got into negotiation about whether eBay would accept this bill, and it turns out they weren't thinking about Colleen. They were thinking about somebody who did $20 or $10 million in sales last year. Those are not your small vendors on the internet. Those are big businesses, and eBay wanted an exemption for them. We couldn't reach an agreement on that number, and so they're opposing our effort. The good news is Amazon, the largest internet retailer, supports us, as do retailers all across the United States, the bricks and mortar businesses, large and small, as well as other business groups and labor groups, as well as governors and mayors across the board. It's time. Senator Heitkamp reminded us, she made that argument 20 years ago in the Quill decision, and the Supreme Court challenged us and said, well, it's up to Congress. Do something. Senator Heitkamp, I'm sorry it's taken so long. I hope we can do it this week.